We also watched AEW Dynamite August 22nd, 2020.
I cannot for the life of me find my AEW notes.
I watched this on Saturday and have not reviewed my notes since. I remember it was awesome.
There were so many shows that it's like, okay, well, it wasn't with SmackDown. Not that SmackDown.
Can't you do a find function?
But it's in. The problem is, I watched 3 shows on Saturday, so they're all. I thought they were all in the same notes together, but now I can't find them. Anyway, get started.
All right. FTR versus Private Party. Tully Blanchard is now in FTR's corner, and has explained this is why they dropped
here they
Ricky
are.
Morton from behind.
Yeah, right after my Thunderdome report.
Why wouldn't it be?
Don't want to lose that one.
No. So Ricky Morton punched Tully Blanchard. That's why they attacked Rock and Roll Express. And Tully Blanchard's the manager now. So there you go. So they're having a very, very, very good match. Both guys in FTR, but especially Dax. He's so good at little things. Doing stomps. Grabbing dudes' heads when he goes to pick them up. His fundamentals are just unbelievable. He had a blimp cam in this match. That was a lot of fun. There was like a chinlock in this match, but they're working the chinlock. They're doing stuff. And Taz is on commentary to critique their grip and technique and all of this. So Isaiah Cassidy tags in. He makes a fun comeback. They're going back and forth. Eventually, Tully pulls Dash out of the way of a plancha. This leaves Mark Quinn isolated in the ring. They pin him with a Goodnight Express. A super fun TV tag match.
Yeah, the big question was, what kind of match is this going to be? Is this going to be an FTR match? Is this going to be a Private Party match?
It was definitely an FTR match.
They made them work their match.
Yes.
And, all you see is FTR or Private Party doing crazy things, but, they can do an arm drag. They can do a headlock. Mm-hmm. And so FTR worked them through a match, basic stuff at the beginning, heat. The comeback was modern. So I thought this was the best Private Party match in a long time. I know some people want more spectacular matches, but I just want a good match.
Yeah.
And I see some of these Private Party matches, and there's a lot of spectacular spots, and there's a lot of shit that doesn't look good.
Yes.
So if you can have a good match and throw in some spectacular few things at the end, I'm perfectly happy. I like this match a lot.
Tonight, in the main event, Cody defends the TNT title against Mr. Brody Lee. There will be an MJF update. But first, we have a Jon Moxley promo about MJF. Says, hey, he's fun TV. It's fun that he says bad stuff about me, but it's nothing I haven't heard from my wife. But people who talk about themselves all the time rub me the wrong way. Tough guys don't talk a lot. They don't have to hide behind words. So what are you hiding, MJF? He puts him over for a long time. I hope you're the man to lead this company for the next 25 years. Because if I'm lucky, I got another 18 months. I hope one day you move out of your parents' basement, lose your virginity, and become world champion. But that day is not September 5th. I'm going to kick you and punch you and elbow you so hard and split your skull with my skull. I'll be in heaven, but you'll be looking for a way out, and the world will find out what you've been hiding. It was a great promo.
Yes, Jon Moxley is a fantastic promo. It's the same thing we say every week. Like, I don't know who's going to win this match. I presume they know. But I'm fully expecting that they're going to have a war, and he's going to look for a way out, and Moxley's going to beat him. That's the last 2 matches. Moxley has explained exactly what's going to happen.
Yes,
and that's what's happened.
That's true. I would be stunned if Moxley did not win, just because, as I've said on the show before, I am giddy with anticipation at how MJF is going to deal with this crushing loss.
Yes, he doesn't need to win the title right now. There's no. Yes, you could say he's the youngest AEW champion. The company's been around a year.
Not even. Dynamite's not.
This doesn't matter. He's got a long, very, very successful future ahead of him.
Yes,
provided he doesn't kill himself, which hopefully he doesn't. He's a pretty smart worker, so I don't expect that to happen. But he doesn't need to win yet. There's a great story to be told. Of he's young. The story is the story Moxley fucking told right here. That's a great story to tell. We get to see his reactions to losing, all of this would be great. He can win later.
Also tonight on Dynamite, the Nightmare Sisters versus Ivelisse and Diamante in the Women's Tag Team Cup Tournament thing, Deadly Draw Final. The Elite versus the Dark Order. and the Lucha Brothers and Butcher and Blade versus Jurassic Express and Natural Nightmares. But first, the MJF update. So he's doing a promo backstage somewhere. He's got his whole wacky crew around him. Nina and her pained smile is just fabulous the entire time. MJF says, Genghis Khan, Napoleon, they pale in comparison to Dictator John. You attacked me like a gutless coward. I want to have a family someday, John. I want to play with my kids. Papa, can we play a game of catch? No, because Daddy's mangled. And that's on you, John. Then we're introduced to MJF's attorney. Now, the last thing MJF needs is a mouthpiece, but this guy held his own, and I'm assuming they have a plan for this. So Mark Sterling is the attorney. He says the paradigm shift, also known as the double arm DDT, it is a dangerous move, possibly deadly. The jury is still out. MJF's career could be over. Who's next? Wardlow? The gum guy? Nina and her beautiful smile? They have a petition to ban the paradigm shift. It has 5 million signatures, we were told. They have a contract that says the paradigm shift is banned from the title match. All John has to do is sign it. You're a fighting champion, John. You're a badass. Why do you need one little move? And if you don't sign it, we will sue you for your money, your cars, and your house, and then Max will take your title anyway. This is great.
So a few questions here. First off, I need to know more about this contract. And granted, all these questions may be answered on tonight. In fact, I'm sure they are, but I haven't watched the show yet, so I probably sound like a fucking moron here. Everyone's already watched it, but upon what grounds can MJF sue Jon Moxley for hitting him with a wrestling move in a wrestling segment?
Well, it's one of those things where this is the same show where I've complained many times about the Murder Hawk assaulting people left and right with no repercussions.
Yeah, so why would there be repercussions for hitting this fucking move on the guy?
Because in a logical world, there was no wrestling match going on. This was assault.
Oh,
Now,
get out of here.
I don't know why that applies to
Come
Moxley, or why it applies, why it applies
What
to
fucking
Moxley and not
damages?
to Lance Archer.
What, he's going to sue for psychological damage?
Oh, Brian, his career may be over. He's got a neck brace
His
on.
career
him.
ain't over. He's wrestling on the fucking pay-per-view. He's got a contract. Anyway, so the other question, which was not answered here, was, so let's say that Jon Moxley signs the contract. What does that mean? If he uses his move, he loses the title via DQ to MJF? Is that what happens? Or is it just the
guess.
honor system?
He just won't do it.
What if he uses it?
Well, that was not clarified. My inclination would have been that yes, at least he'd be disqualified. Maybe he'd still keep the title, but that he'd have to find a way to win without using that paradigm shift.
I don't know what happens on the show tonight, but I hope what happens is Jon Moxley just comes out and says, dude, I hit you with a wrestling move in a wrestling segment. You have 0 grounds to sue me, but fuck it. I'll beat you with another move and sign the contract. That makes sense.
He beat Cage with an armbar.
Sure.
Yeah.
Choke sleeper, gotch
Yep,
pile
yep, yep.
driver.
True.
Got lots of moves.
The Natural Nightmares and Jurassic Express versus Lucha Brothers and Butcher and Blade. They did take an early break in this match. I didn't time it. Felt like about 3 minutes into the match, but there was still plenty of stuff, certainly after the break. So they just did a lot of cool shit. The Butcher did a Shining Wizard. I was not ready for that one. Somebody, probably Dustin, hit a Canadian Destroyer on Phoenix. He nearly died. Didn't rotate all the way over, but apparently he's alive, well, as far as I can tell. And at the finish, Pentagon and the Blade have a disagreement about something.
Well, the disagreement was that Phoenix got sent outside. Pentagon wanted to do his move with Phoenix. The Blade offered to do the move in place of Phoenix.
Ah, I see.
This made Pentagon very, very angry,
Got it.
and thus it ended up leading to the finish. So this was all Pentagon's fault. He was a selfish prick.
Got it. Well, as a selfish prick, he shoves the Blade right into a Schoolboy by Jungle Boy for the pin. Match was tons of fun. So Butcher and Blade and Lucha Brothers get in a shoving match, and they're going nose to nose, and looks like all the hell's about to break loose. Out comes, to make peace, Eddie Kingston. He says, we on TNT, they know drama. Why do we have to have drama? They only beat you guys when you're divided. He puts them all over one by one. He's known them all a long time, been through battles with all of them. Says, walk with me. Everything we want will be ours. And the 5 men all have a giant group hug. So this apparently is Eddie Kingston's new faction. It's him and 2 tag teams. That's weird.
Dude, Eddie Kingston is 38 years old. He has been wrestling for 18 years. All over the world.
Yes.
And the reality is, in my opinion, if it's my company, I pay this guy to largely be a mouthpiece. And that has not taken anything away from his wrestling. He's a fucking awesome wrestler. But what I'm saying is...
His promos are better.
He deserves to not have to destroy his body
Yes.
on a regular basis. He's earned the right to come out here and largely be a mouthpiece for a faction and wrestle a match once a month or so. But he's a fucking great talker. Mm-hmm. He could talk for all of these guys.
He's certainly better than any of these 4.
Yeah, you don't have to make him like a jobber and like he's now just a manager. But I think that he's earned the right to mostly talk and wrestle when need be in big matches.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Yeah, that all makes
That's
sense.
how much I respect Eddie Kingston.
I have no problem with that. It's just weird. The faction is basically 2 tag teams. So they're in each other's way.
That's fine. It's gonna be a tag team and the Death Triangle as soon as Pac can come back.
Well, that's the other thing. If who the hell knows when Pac's returning, they can throw him in there. Actually, if he's the single star with Eddie Kingston talking for him, yes, please, that works. Or they could break up and do Death Triangle versus Eddie Kingston and Butcher and Blade. That would also work. So
I mean, Jericho wrestles pretty frequently, but this is the same thing that he's doing. He's the leader of the Inner Circle. He's the mouthpiece of the Inner Circle. You know, he can be out there and just be a promo guy and wrestle sparingly. That's what I'm saying for Eddie Kingston.
Britt Baker is rehabbing her nose and her knee, and wherever they're at, they're interrupted by Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford passionately making out. As a dentist, she says, she must tell them the risk of exchanging human saliva. You ain't kidding in this 2020.
Poor Adam Cole.
That's a much better follow-up than what I had. So she says that Big Swole wants a match and has offered any match she wants. So she wants a handicap match, and she wants Penelope to be her partner. And if Reba will be her partner, excuse me, if Penelope will be your partner in this match, then she will do their dental care for a year, and Reba will also do their makeup for a year. And Reba, of course, protests, but Penelope says, okay. So that's the match for tonight, which I guess turned out to be a sight to behold. Penelope Ford and Britt Baker versus Big Swole. Tony Schiavone interviews Orange Cassidy. So last time we saw Dynamite, Orange Cassidy got the biggest win of his life, and they immediately went off the air. So this is his chance to follow up on it. And of course, it's Orange, so his follow-up is standing there as Tony Schiavone describes it in great detail. He calls it the biggest win of Orange's career, and then just holds out a mic with no question even asked. Thank God Jericho interrupted. Schiavone might have been there all night. Jericho congratulates Orange Cassidy on beating him last week on Dynamite. I have only been pinned 3 times since October 2nd, 2019, and one of those times was last week to you, the guy who puts his hands in his pockets. Now, I'm actually proud, Orange, because that proves you've been learning from me. You've proved you have heart and desire and courage, and that's and everything it takes to be a main event superstar. But something is stuck in my craw. We each have a win over each other. We need a third match to prove who the better man really is. I am the genius who came up with Money in the Bank, which he described, he didn't use those words, but he is, and he did. I went on an idea about us. You are all about orange juice. I am all about the bubbly. Let's have a Mimosa Mayhem match. So go back a year. Chris Jericho wins the AEW title. He's celebrating backstage, has a throwaway line about a little bit of the bubbly. Look at all it has turned into. He's selling a little bit of the bubbly.
Dude, when something gets over, you run with it. You don't try to bury it.
Yes. That's exactly right. You do not bury it. You lift it. You expose it. So
you make some fucking money off of it is what you do, Vinny.
Yes.
When something gets over, you monetize it.
Yes. So he says, let's have a Mimosa Mayhem match. And since none of you know what that is, I have prepared a video. And the video explains. They will have a tank at ringside with 80 gallons of orange juice and 500 cases of the bubbly. You win the match by pinfall, submission, or getting thrown into the tank. And as soon as they said that, the biggest smile broke out over my face. Jericho selling being... he may lose the match, but at some point, after the match, he's going into the tank either way, and it's going to be awesome. It will be the Mimosa Mayhem match. You've got to see it to believe it. Do you accept? And Orange gives his thumbs up. And Jericho says, I would like to give Orange a toast, but I want the whole inner circle out here. And they all come out with champagne. And Jericho says, here's to you. Get him, boys. And they all attack Orange, hold him upside down, pour bubbly in his face, and leave him and I think the best friends. It was a week ago. But
yes.
A brilliant promo, a brilliant match, and a brilliant angle. Wrestling is fun when you don't overthink it.
Well, I love the fact that Jericho beat Orange, and Orange beat Jericho. They were both clean wins.
True.
Okay? So now, this is why, going into the second match, people were, Tyson needs to interfere, Tyson can punch out, blah, blah, blah. I thought that was a bad idea. If Orange is going to beat Jericho, he needs to beat Jericho. And he did. Now, if you want to have Tyson show up and throw Jericho in some fucking orange juice or whatever you want to do, it doesn't matter. It does not matter at this point how Orange Cassidy gets his hand raised. It doesn't matter. He's already got his win. So I presume, I don't know if it's going to be the Tyson deal, because I think Tyson's got a fight coming up early in September. He may not want to show up and throw someone in fucking orange juice, but maybe he does. I don't know. But I figure something like that is going to happen, where there's going to be some sort of bullshit comedy, and at the end of the day, we'll get a lot of entertainment out of it, but it's not going to take away from Orange actually getting his clean pinfall victory over Chris Jericho.
Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Dark Order 3, 4, and 5. And Brian, I'm very happy to hear that I could tell right away that among these Dark Order geeks, the short, ugly, bald one was Silver, the dude with the hair was Reynolds.
Look at you.
Yes. The other, I was told, is Alan Angels. So
yes.
I wrote originally like thousands of words about this match. I looked at my notes and thought, what am I doing? And I went back and erased them all. It doesn't matter. They had a Bucks match. Everyone did a bunch of cool shit. There was 9,000 hot tags, a million heat segments. Eventually, Angels apparently got pinned with the assisted Indie Taker and a one-winged angel. And then after the match, Kenny continues the attack. He is going to powerbomb the guy onto a chair with a leg sticking up and kill him. But Matt Jackson prevents this murder, and they bicker.
I don't know why, but every match I watch, it's just, all I see is people that I think got hurt. And sure as shit, there was one in here, which was, I think Silver had Matt Jackson up, and they were going to go for a tope suplex, but Silver slipped or whatever, and he fucking dropped Matt right on his head. I thought the guy was dead.
There was a brainbuster on the floor.
And it turns out that one was a bad one. But he wasn't hurt bad. But, I mean, he got dropped on his fucking head, and he was holding his head and neck afterwards, and it didn't feel good. But it wasn't a serious injury, but, God, I get scared all the time watching wrestling.
You're a father now.
I am.
You developed empathy.
I look at these youngsters as all my children.
Yes. Alex Marvez interviews FTR about their Gauntlet Tag match on the Thursday show. So they have rankings in AEW, and the rankings matter. So in this Gauntlet match, they're going to start with teams 3 and 4, the Natural Nightmares and the Young Bucks. The winner of that faces the second team, the Best Friends, and the winner of that faces the one team, FTR, and the winner of that gets a title shot. So FTR says, we want to be the best. We're going to learn from the best, as in Tully Blanchard. And it's about getting from almost the best to being the best. They say, we'll be fresh, beat whoever gets to you, and we'll challenge the chance on September 5th. So September 5th, by the way, is the pay-per-view. That's what the tag title match is. So Hangman Page comes in to confront them, accuses them of faking an injury last week and attacking an old man and Ricky Morton. They say, listen, Hangman, what happened with the Rock and Roll Express, that has nothing to do with you. They turned their back on us. They disrespected us. I had to fake that knee injury. After everything the Young Bucks have said about us for 7 years, I had to see if I could trust them. So I went down with that knee injury. I went to the back, and the only one who came to see if I was okay was you. Now what happens, Hangman? If the Bucks win that gauntlet match, they beat you and undo everything you've done, and you're right back in their shadow. The most important thing to us, as wrestling a man we have the utmost respect for the tag team titles. Good luck to all of us. And he joins them in a drink.
So, as I noted multiple times, they were trying to convince the Hangman to screw the Bucks.
Yes, that's exactly it.
How about that? This is the greatest fucking show sometimes.
Yeah, I have not read the Thursday results yet, but that's something what they wanted to happen. Darby Allin versus A Geek. So there's a fellow in the ring. He wasn't named at first. Eventually I got his name. Now I believe that they described him as Big Will Hobbs. But what I heard the first time was Big Will Haas.
That's a better name.
It's just a million times better as a name because Big Will Haas is in fact a big hoss. And you know what AEW doesn't have? They don't have a hoss. They don't have just a big muscle head just out there doing clubber and forearms and a clothesline and winning. AEW needs a hoss. They need Big Will Haas. He got some offense here on Darby Allin, clubbers him, manhandles him, but then Darby hits a stunner out of nowhere, the coffin drop for the win. More Big Will Haas, please.
Yeah. He was fun while he lasted.
I got so happy with Big Will Haas.
Darby's match is literally nothing but I'm going to throw my body at this dude like a missile.
I shall jump you at the bell. It won't last long because I'm tiny. You will destroy me for a long time. I will do 2 moves and win. It's the Randy Savage Nitro comeback. All he needs is that one big elbow and he wins. Darby's whole comeback basically is the coffin drop and he wins.
I'm talking about when he does a dive.
Well, that too.
It's like it's not even a dive. It's literally like you put a dude in a cannon and you shoot him at somebody. That's what his dives look like. His body just flies through the air, haphazardly hits someone, and crashes on the ground. Does a great deal of damage, but
to both men.
Yes.
Yeah. So after the match, Taz cuts a promo on Darby. He says there is a new member of Team Taz. His name is also Darby, but he's bigger than you and better looking than you too. So out comes Ricky Starks, dressed as Darby Allin, got the face paint, got emo written across his chest. He does a short little promo, just imitating Darby about living his nightmares. Nobody likes me. I like skateboarding. I like being reckless and shredding a man's back with thumbtacks because life is a joke. So he gets to this point. Then Cage ambushes Darby from behind, lays him out. So I get why they did Ricky Starks as Darby Allin. It was a thing to do. It made sense. They've got this program going. But as soon as he stopped being Darby Allin and went back to being Ricky Starks, he was 1,000,000,000% better. You're a joke. You're a clown. I don't need face paint to be somebody. I am absolute Ricky Starks. I'm going to be better than you in every single way. And eventually, they lay Darby out. To make sure he can't move, Cage stands on Darby's feet. And Starks goes up for a coffin drop, goes to the middle rope, falls backwards off it, and just squishes Darby Allin. These men, in their brief time working together,
these guys are determined to kill each other.
Very violent. This was a lot of fun.
I did like that he said that the skateboard spot was careless, because it wasn't. It was a premeditated murder, and it came off exactly as planned.
Yes. There's no other way to do a skateboard thumbtack spot.
No. I meant to do it safely, but I recklessly shredded you with a skateboard covered in thumbtacks.
Yes. I wasn't trying to hurt you, just thumbtack you. So they go to commercial, and there's picture-in-picture, and Sammy Guevara is out doing his gimmick with the signs, throwing each one away, and suddenly, during the commercial, during picture-in-picture, he is jumped by Matt Hardy from behind, and I'm watching Matt Hardy just destroy this man with a chair as very, very happy music is playing during a car rental commercial. It was funny. They go all the way through the break. Sammy is still being beaten. I have no idea what happened to the inner circle. Eventually, Sammy is thrown through a table. Matt grabs a chair to throw it in his face like Sammy did to him. The refs finally break it up.
I realize that my standards are low, but when he put him through a table and then they announced a tables match, I was so fucking happy because if this were SmackDown, he would have put him through the table, and then on social media over the weekend, they would have announced a strap match for SmackDown.
Or an I Quit match, yes.
Yes.
Yes, the show does make sense. Almost every time. We are then introduced to NWA Women's World Champion Thunder Rosa. Thunder says the fans and social media have been asking for her, but not TNT and certainly not AEW. She heard Hikaru Shida. She's come here to put the women's division on the map. At the pay-per-view, she's coming for that championship. She challenges Shida in 3 different languages and says she is here for the championship and nothing else. This was awesome.
Man, we got an NWA versus AEW title match coming up.
I guess title for title. Well, at least Shida's title's on the line. But that's, I believe that's official for the pay-per-view now. Yeah. Vita Scott comes out to join the booth, talk about Thunder Rosa, and call the finals for this tag team tournament. So it's Eva Lise and Diamante versus the Nightmare Sisters. Now, they went to a commercial break very, very early in this match. The same kind of early commercial break that I just bitched about for a half hour during the NXT review. But you know what? After 2 minutes of this match, I needed a commercial break. The Nightmare Sisters just aren't very good. After the commercial, QT tries to interfere, gets his ass kicked, Brandy gets thrown out onto him, and Eva Lise pins Ali with a kick to the face. And Eva Lise and Diamante throw a great party.
Yeah, this was not the best match I've ever seen. Apparently, it was one of the better matches of the tournament. I did not watch any of the tournament.
I watched one tournament match. I had to see Tainara Conti and Anna Jay as a team. I watched the 2 of them versus Nyla Rose and Ariane. It was better than this, I can say that.
With Ariane in there?
Believe it or not, yes.
Wow.
Yes. It was mostly Nyla, but yes. So Medusa is there to present them with flowers and medals and their trophy, but they throw the flowers down and grab their flags and celebrate with them. So I don't know what they're going to do with them now, but hey, they won this tournament. On Thursday, Chris Jericho on commentary. The tag team gauntlet match we discussed earlier. Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara in a tables match. An MJF John Moxley contract signing. And Big Swole versus Britt Baker and Penelope Ford in a handicap match. So it's time for the TNT title match. It's Cody versus Mr. Brody Lee. They do the entrances. They do the introductions. The bell rings. Cody gets a flurry of offense for like 30 seconds, but then Brody drop kicks him in the face. He destroys him in the ring. He destroys him out of the ring. He hits a bunch of suplexes, hits a bunch of power bombs and a discus lariat, and pins him. Well then.
Loved it.
Yes. So Brody Lee is, without a doubt, you talk about undisputed. Brody Lee is the undisputed TNT champion. No one can deny that guy deserves to be champion right now.
Hey, you know what? There's so much stuff that you can. Well, I mean, we'll get to the injury in a moment, but the story is obviously the story that we talked about months ago, which is Cody played Okada and he spread himself too thin and he finally fell.
When he fell hard.
Oh, did he fall hard? And you know what? There's so many things you can do here. Does he blame Arn? Arn was supposed to be his coach. You know, Arn half-assed told him not to do all of this stuff, but he still went out there and did it every week. Arn didn't stop him. I mean, if you want to do you could do a Cody heel turn out of this if you wanted to. Cody could come back as a huge baby face because people will respect what he did, even though he got killed here. I mean, there was only 2 ways to end this way, or a surprise shows up and beats him.
Yeah.
Whoever that might be. I like this way better.
This was great. Many people have pointed out this whole thing, including the post-match, is basically Clubber Lang beating Rocky Balboa in Rocky 3. And we all know how that movie ended. Rocky had to go find the eye of the tiger. We'll see what eye Cody can find. But so the thing is perfect. Like this went virtually head-to-head with TakeOver. I know there was like an hour difference or something, but I watched both shows on that night. And this secondary championship win in AEW felt like so much a bigger deal than Karrion Kross's championship win on TakeOver.
Because they protect their titles.
Because Cody, Well, I'll get to Cody in a minute, but Cody won this title in a tournament in very weird circumstances. The fact they could even get a tournament done is pretty remarkable. And he's on here every week having great matches against different opponents. Great match with Scorpio Sky. Great match with, he had Darby, I think. Great match, I'm forgetting now. Eddie Kingston, that was the best one. Great match with Ricky Starks. He's out there having great matches every week and winning every week. So when he just gets beat at something totally different, and you know this new guy is the shit. This is a big, big, big fucking deal. So it's a great in storyline. Take storyline out of it for a second. Cody Rhodes is a guy I've been watching since he had debuted in the main roster like 15 years ago. I didn't see his Ohio Valley stuff, but I've seen almost his entire career. And he's always been a guy who I thought was somewhere between fine and good. I never saw him as being one of the best guys I ever saw. He comes to AEW. He has his match with Dustin, which remains the best thing either of them has ever done. I think they would both agree with that. Outside of that, the best run of Cody's career was this the TNT title tournament and all his defenses until losing it. He's out there having, I've said it already, but he had great matches, different matches with different opponents every week. And it was awesome, and it was important, and it helped get somebody else over when Brody beat him. This is how pro wrestling is supposed to work. This is a perfect textbook example of how it's all supposed to be done.
Not only that, we had a big-time main event with a big-time main eventer. Cody's one of the biggest stars in the entire company.
Yes.
And he lost in 3 minutes.
Yep.
Which means that they got a good year where you can do a near fall in 3 minutes now, and everybody's going to buy it.
There's that. There's the fact, I know not as many people watch Being the Elite as watch Dynamite. But what is spelled out on Being the Elite is so pretty clear on Dynamite. The Dark Order was, for the most part, a comedy act. Yes, they were doing stuff with Colt Cabana. Yes, they were doing stuff with Brody. But by and large, when the Dark Order came out, they may have to do some fun, but they always lost. But now Brody Lee, this Brody Lee fucker. Listen, he by himself has massive credibility. And by proxy,
he's rehabbed the entire Dark Order.
Yes, all his minions got extra credibility too. Because if a guy this dominant sees something and then they must be dangerous. There must be something behind this. So, this all made me so happy. And then, we're not done yet. The show ain't over. So, Cody gets pinned and he's not moving. He's a limp wash rag in this ring. Tony Schiavone goes in the ring to interview Brody Lee. And Brody is just defiant at TV people and executives like Tony Schiavone. People like you created this monster. Now you have a problem for AEW. With this belt comes power, and the Dark Order is at the top now. And as he's ranting, Schiavone is holding his mic, but he's looking behind him. He's very concerned about Cody Rhodes, who, of course, he's known virtually his entire life. Brody says, executives like you didn't give me a chance. When I got a chance, I knocked it out of the park. So, eventually, Cody is loaded on the stretcher. They're wheeling him past the stairs towards the tunnel. He is able to very weakly hold his thumbs up, a sign of he's still kicking.
He stole Orange's gimmick.
He actually did have a gimmick infringement. So the Dark Order starts to menace Cody. And then, for the first time, Arn Anderson finally gets physical. It's like Silver and Reynolds. It's two of the lower tier Dark Order dudes. He kicks their ass for a little bit, but is eventually swarmed and laid out. They bring Cody back out. They dump over the stretcher. Brody hits him over the head with a bag of stuff, which we'll get to shortly. And all questions are answered because everything makes sense. If you're wondering where Dustin Rhodes and QT Marshall are, they were also getting beaten up backstage. They get dragged out. They get lumped into the pile with Cody's body. Brandy comes out wailing to check on her husband and her family. Brody looks at her and smiles, gestures to Anna Jay. Anna Jay comes up from behind Brandy to choke her out. Brody's having a grand old time. This is the time of his life. This is the best day in the life of Brody Lee. He dumps out the mystery bag. It's the scraps of the old belt. And as I'm sitting there thinking, this show is awesome. This show's just awesome. One of the announcers says very solemnly, the world changed in AEW tonight. And it sure fucking did. It sure fucking did.
The only thing that was wacky about it was, as much as I liked him hitting him with the belt, like, I was gifted the Winged Eagle on the Christmas show, Dude, I could swing that fucking thing as hard as I could and hit you in the head with it, and that thing ain't breaking. Your skull's breaking a lot faster than that belt is breaking.
I took it as he broke the belt first and then swung a bag full of belt shards at Cody's head.
I see. Well, anyway, I thought the angle was fucking phenomenal. I thought the match was fucking phenomenal. I thought the finish was fucking... I thought everything about this was great. And it was a mere 8 months ago that the Dark Order beat up the Elite on Dynamite in December, and Dave said this could be a turning point. I forget the term that he used, but it was very dramatic.
It was, yes.
And it wasn't. They came back in January with a fucking giant number, and it was smooth sailing from there. And here we are, end of August. The fucking Dark Order's on top of the world, all thanks to Brody Lee and his band of merry misfits, who I guess have a celebration on the show this week. I can't wait to watch that. And that's that. Now, listen, normally we rank the shows, but this is not fair. It's not head-to-head.
All right.
It's not even the same week. Like,
It's really not,
It should have
honestly.
been this Saturday versus last week's NXT. So until they're head-to-head again, I don't think it's fair to do a vote. So
That's reasonable. That's fine. I will refrain from voting as well. I will say that if I was going to vote, it's pretty obvious I would be voting for AEW, and I knew that. But as I'm going back over these two shows, except for that Nightmare Sisters tag match, which was short, I think every segment on Dynamite was better than every segment on NXT.
dude, I love this Dynamite.
It was like a
It's great.
sweep, man. It was
a great
there's a vast,
Dynamite.
vast difference in the shows this week.
But
That
it doesn't count, Vinny.
It doesn't count.
It doesn't count. We're not voting this week.
All right.